Welcome, gentle viewers, to a peaceful exploration of South Park's most grounded soul. Tonight we journey through the life of Stanley Marsh, the reluctant moral compass whose quiet observations have anchored us through decades of mountain town chaos. From his earliest moments as our cynical guide to his complex evolution into young adulthood, Stan represents the voice of reason, struggling to make sense of an increasingly absurd world. Close your eyes like you're settling in for another day in South Park, and let us drift through the surprisingly profound journey of a boy who just wants things to make sense. Welcome to the quiet mythology of South Park, Colorado, where certain characters emerge not from grand design but from the organic evolution of storytelling itself, representing the careful alchemy that transforms simple animated figures into the complex psychological landscapes that define our most beloved fictional companions. Stanley Marsh began his existence as something far more fundamental than a mere cartoon character, serving instead as the essential foundation upon which an entire universe of satirical commentary would be built. His very presence establishing the emotional and moral framework that would allow audiences to navigate the increasingly absurd terrain of mountain town life with some semblance of psychological stability and ethical grounding. The genesis of Stan Marsh reveals the sophisticated understanding of narrative architecture that underlies South Park's enduring cultural impact, demonstrating how the most effective satirical works require characters who can serve as both participants in and observers of the madness surrounding them, creating the delicate balance between engagement and detachment that allows comedy to carry genuine emotional weight and social commentary to resonate beyond mere entertainment. In Stan, creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker discovered the perfect vessel for their own voices and perspectives, a character whose fundamental decency and reasonable worldview could serve as the audience's entry point into increasingly unreasonable situations, while maintaining the human connection necessary for satirical comedy to achieve its deepest effects. The artistic decision to model Stan's personality and perspective on Matt Stone's own childhood experiences and sensibilities reflects the intuitive understanding that authentic characters must emerge from genuine emotional and psychological sources rather than purely conceptual frameworks, creating fictional individuals who possess the internal consistency and recognizable human complexity that allows audiences to form meaningful emotional bonds despite the obviously artificial nature of their animated existence. Stone's natural cynicism, combined with his fundamental optimism about human potential, provided the essential contradiction that would make Stan compelling as both a comedic figure and a serious moral voice within the show's satirical structure. The early episodes of South Park reveal Stan's character taking shape through a process of careful experimentation and gradual refinement, as the creators explored different aspects of his personality and tested various approaches to his role within the group dynamic that defines the show's central relationships. These formative appearances demonstrate the organic nature of character development in successful long-form storytelling, where initial concepts evolve and deepen through the practical demands of episode creation and the natural chemistry that emerges between different character combinations and conflict scenarios. The establishment of Stan as the show's primary audience surrogate required careful attention to the balance between relatability and distinctiveness, creating a character who could represent common human perspectives and reactions while maintaining enough individual personality to avoid becoming a mere blank slate for viewer projection. His specific combination of moral seriousness and adolescent irreverence, intellectual curiosity, and emotional accessibility created the perfect foundation for a character who could guide audiences through complex social and political commentary without sacrificing the entertainment value and comedic energy that keeps satirical works engaging, rather than preachy. The evolution of Stan's visual design during the show's early seasons reflects the broader artistic development of South Park itself, moving from the crude cutout animation of the original shorts toward the more sophisticated computer-generated approach that would allow for greater expressiveness and visual storytelling, while maintaining the deliberately simple aesthetic that keeps the focus on character and dialogue rather than flashy visual effects. Stan's appearance, with his distinctive blue hat and matter-of-fact facial expressions, became iconic, not through elaborate design, but through the consistency of his emotional presentation and the way his visual simplicity complemented his role as the show's emotional center. The vocal development of Stan's character demonstrates the crucial importance of finding the right balance between naturalistic speech patterns and the heightened reality necessary for effective animated comedy, creating a voice that sounds authentic to childhood experience, while remaining distinctive enough to carry the sophisticated dialogue and social commentary that the character would eventually be called upon to deliver. The slight nasality and earnest tone of Stan's voice perfectly captures the combination of innocent sincerity and growing worldliness that defines his character throughout his development from elementary school student to self-aware adolescent. The psychological framework that underlies Stan's character reflects the sophisticated understanding of childhood development and moral reasoning that distinguishes South Park from simpler animated comedies, creating a fictional child who demonstrates realistic cognitive and emotional growth while maintaining the essential qualities that make him an effective vehicle for social commentary and philosophical exploration. His natural tendency toward empathy and justice, combined with his growing awareness of adult hypocrisy and social contradiction, creates the internal tension that drives many of the show's most effective episodes and provides the emotional stakes that transform satirical comedy into genuine storytelling. The relationship between Stan's character development and the show's broader satirical agenda reveals the careful thought that went into creating a protagonist who could serve multiple narrative functions simultaneously, working as both a comedic character in his own right and a lens through which audiences could examine contemporary social and political issues without feeling lectured or manipulated by obvious authorial intent. His natural reactions to absurd situations provide both humor and social commentary, while his emotional investment in outcomes creates the dramatic tension necessary for satirical comedy to achieve genuine impact rather than remaining merely clever or cynical. The establishment of Stan's role as the group's de facto leader and moral center required careful attention to avoiding the trap of making him too perfect or sanctimonious, instead creating a character whose moral instincts are generally sound, but whose understanding and application of ethical principles continues to develop through experience and reflection. His mistakes and moments of poor judgment serve to humanize him, while his consistent return to ethical reasoning and genuine concern for others establishes the moral foundation that allows the show to engage with serious topics while maintaining its comedic edge. The way Stan's character serves as a bridge between the show's adult creators and its young characters demonstrates the sophisticated understanding of perspective and voice that underlies effective satirical writing, creating a fictional child who can articulate complex ideas and social observations without losing the authentic voice and emotional experience of actual childhood. This balance allows the show to address adult themes and concerns while maintaining the authenticity of its child characters' perspectives and experiences. The development of Stan's cynical worldview as a defining characteristic reflects the creator's recognition that effective satirical comedy requires characters who can observe and comment on social absurdity without becoming completely detached from human emotion and moral concern, creating the delicate balance between critical distance and emotional engagement that allows satirical works to achieve both intellectual and emotional impact on their audiences. His cynicism serves as a protective mechanism that allows him to navigate increasingly bizarre situations while maintaining his essential humanity and capacity for genuine feeling. The role that Stan plays in establishing South Park's unique brand of satirical commentary reveals the importance of having characters who can serve as moral anchors within chaotic fictional universes, providing the stability and consistency necessary for audiences to navigate complex social and political commentary without losing their emotional connection to the story and characters. His presence ensures that even the show's most absurd episodes maintain some connection to recognizable human experience and moral reasoning. The way Stan's character has evolved to address contemporary social issues while maintaining his essential personality traits demonstrates the flexibility and durability of well-constructed fictional characters, showing how effective character development creates individuals who can grow and adapt to new circumstances and challenges, while retaining the core qualities that make them distinctive and valuable within their fictional universe. His ability to serve as a vehicle for commentary on everything from environmental issues to political polarization, while remaining recognizably himself, speaks to the fundamental strength of his character conception. The relationship between Stan's individual character development and his function within the show's ensemble cast reveals the careful attention to group dynamics and character chemistry that underlies successful long-form storytelling, creating a character who can work effectively both as a solo protagonist and as part of the collaborative relationships that drive many of the show's most memorable episodes and story arcs. His natural leadership abilities and moral instincts make him an effective group organizer, while his emotional accessibility and genuine concern for his friends create the interpersonal bonds that give weight to the group's adventures and conflicts. The philosophical implications of Stan's character development touch on fundamental questions about moral education, social responsibility, and the relationship between individual conscience and community standards, creating a fictional child whose journey toward moral maturity serves as a vehicle for exploring broader questions about how ethical reasoning develops and how individuals learn to navigate the complex moral landscape of contemporary society. His struggles with these questions provide both entertainment and genuine insight into the challenges facing real children and adolescents as they develop their own moral frameworks. The technical aspects of bringing Stan to life as a fully realized character required careful attention to consistency in voice acting, animation, and character behavior across hundreds of episodes and multiple decades of production, creating the illusion of a continuous personality and psychological development, despite the collaborative nature of television production and the inevitable changes in creative personnel and artistic approach that occur over Kyle. Long-running series. The success of this effort speaks to the fundamental strength of the character concept and the dedication of the creative team to maintaining his essential identity. The cultural impact of Stan as a character extends far beyond his role within South Park itself to encompass his influence on contemporary discussions of childhood, morality, and social responsibility, creating a fictional figure who has become a reference point for conversations about how children process and respond to adult conflicts and social problems. His realistic portrayal of childhood moral reasoning and emotional development has contributed to broader cultural conversations about the sophistication and wisdom that children often demonstrate when facing complex ethical dilemmas. The way Stan's character has maintained his relevance across different social and political contexts demonstrates the timeless nature of the fundamental human struggles and moral questions that define his character, showing how effective character development creates individuals who can address contemporary issues while embodying universal aspects of human experience that transcend specific historical moments or cultural circumstances. His continued ability to serve as an effective voice for social commentary speaks to the enduring relevance of his essential moral perspective. The psychological realism of Stan's character development reflects the creator's understanding that effective satirical comedy requires characters who demonstrate authentic human psychology and emotional development rather than serving merely as vehicles for jokes or political commentary, creating fictional individuals whose growth and change over time mirrors the complexity of real human development and provides audiences with characters they can genuinely care about rather than simply laugh at or with. In the gentle evolution of this animated figure from simple concept to complex individual, we witness the remarkable process through which fictional characters transcend their origins to become meaningful parts of our cultural landscape, teaching us about ourselves while entertaining us, challenging our assumptions while providing comfort and familiarity, and demonstrating that the most effective satirical comedy emerges not from cynical detachment, but from genuine engagement with the human condition and sincere concern for our collective moral development and social progress. In the complex moral architecture of contemporary animated storytelling, few characters embody the weight and responsibility of serving as ethical compass with the quiet dignity and reluctant wisdom that defines Stanley Marsh's journey through the increasingly complicated landscape of South Park's satirical universe. His role as the show's primary moral voice represents far more than simple narrative convenience or authorial mouthpiece, instead emerging from the organic development of a character whose natural empathy and instinctive sense of justice create the psychological foundation necessary for navigating the ethical minefields that contemporary satirical comedy must traverse to remain both entertaining and meaningful in an era of increasing social and political polarization. The establishment of Stan's moral authority within South Park's fictional universe required careful attention to the delicate balance between righteousness and relatability, creating a character whose ethical instincts are generally sound without making him insufferably perfect or unrealistically mature for his chronological age. His moral development unfolds through a series of increasingly complex ethical dilemmas that test not only his ability to identify right from wrong, but his capacity to act on his convictions despite social pressure, personal cost, and the frequent futility of fighting against systems and attitudes that seem impervious to individual conscience and moral reasoning. The philosophical sophistication that underlies Stan's approach to ethical decision-making becomes evident in episodes where he confronts issues that resist simple moral categorization, demonstrating his growing understanding that genuine ethical reasoning requires the ability to hold complexity and nuance, rather than retreating into simplistic rules or partisan positions. His response to the euthanasia debate in Best Friends Forever reveals a mind capable of distinguishing between competing moral claims while maintaining compassion for all parties involved, showing how authentic moral reasoning emerges from empathy and careful consideration rather than ideological positioning or emotional reaction. The psychological burden that Stan carries as the group's designated moral center becomes increasingly apparent as the series progresses and the ethical dilemmas he faces grow more complex and personally costly, revealing the genuine psychological toll that comes with consistently choosing principled action over personal convenience or social acceptance. His willingness to stand alone when necessary, whether confronting the cult of Scientology or challenging the military-industrial complex, demonstrates the kind of moral courage that requires not just intellectual clarity, but emotional resilience and the ability to withstand isolation and criticism from those who prefer comfort to truth. The evolution of Stan's ethical framework, from childhood simplicity to adolescent complexity, reflects the natural development of moral reasoning that occurs when individuals with strong ethical instincts encounter the messy realities of adult society and discover that good intentions and clear principles are necessary, but not sufficient for navigating the complex moral landscape of contemporary life. His growing awareness of institutional corruption, systemic injustice, and the way that good people can become complicit in harmful systems creates the internal tension that drives many of his most compelling character moments and ethical struggles. The specific episodes that showcase Stan's moral leadership reveal the consistent patterns of ethical reasoning that define his character, while also demonstrating his continued growth and learning in the face of new challenges and moral complexities. His handling of the Passion of the Jew controversy demonstrates his ability to separate his personal feelings and social pressures from his ethical analysis, refusing to condemn an entire group based on the actions of individuals, while also acknowledging the legitimate concerns and emotions of those affected by historical and contemporary anti-Semitism. The way Stan approaches environmental issues throughout the series reveals his natural ability to connect abstract moral principles with concrete personal and social consequences, understanding that ethical behavior requires not just individual conscience, but collective action and systemic change. His response to global warming in 2 days before the day after tomorrow demonstrates his frustration with the gap between scientific evidence and political action, while also showing his recognition that moral clarity does not automatically translate into effective social change. The relationship between Stan's moral convictions and his friendships creates ongoing tension that tests both his ethical principles and his loyalty to the people he cares about, particularly in situations where his friends' actions or attitudes conflict with his moral instincts. His struggle to balance friendship with moral integrity becomes particularly apparent in episodes where he must choose between supporting his friends and standing up for what he believes is right, revealing the complex psychology of moral decision-making in interpersonal contexts where ethical principles compete with emotional bonds and social obligations. The way Stan handles religious and spiritual questions demonstrates his sophisticated understanding of the difference between institutional corruption and authentic spiritual seeking, showing respect for genuine faith while maintaining critical distance from organized religion, and the ways that spiritual authority can be abused for personal or political gain. His approach to the Catholic Church scandal and various cult episodes reveals his ability to distinguish between the human search for meaning and the institutional structures that often exploit that search for worldly power, control. The moral courage that Stan displays when confronting authority figures and social institutions reflects his growing understanding that ethical behavior sometimes requires challenging systems of power and influence that prefer compliance to justice, comfort to truth, and order to moral integrity. His willingness to question teachers, government officials, and even his own parents when their actions contradict his ethical principles demonstrates the kind of moral independence that emerges when strong ethical instincts are combined with intellectual honesty and emotional maturity. The psychological complexity of Stan's moral development becomes particularly evident in episodes where his ethical convictions are challenged or complicated by new information, personal experience, or the unintended consequences of his own moral actions. his ability to acknowledge when he has been wrong, to modify his positions based on new evidence, and to maintain his ethical principles while adapting his understanding of how those principles should be applied, reveals the kind of intellectual humility and emotional flexibility that distinguishes genuine moral reasoning from rigid dogmatism or self-righteous posturing. The way Stan processes moral failure and disappointment, both his own and that of others, demonstrates his growing understanding that ethical development is an ongoing process rather than a destination, requiring continued attention and effort rather than simply achieving some stable state of moral perfection. His response to his own mistakes and poor decisions shows his ability to learn from failure while maintaining his commitment to ethical behavior, while his reactions to the moral failures of others reveal his capacity for forgiveness, combined with appropriate boundaries and realistic expectations. The role that Stan's moral reasoning plays in addressing contemporary social and political issues demonstrates how effective satirical commentary requires characters who can engage with complex topics from a position of genuine, ethical concern, rather than partisan positioning or cynical detachment. His approach to issues ranging from immigration to healthcare to economic inequality reflects his consistent focus on human dignity and social justice, while avoiding the kind of ideological rigidity that would limit his effectiveness as a vehicle for nuanced social commentary. The relationship between Stan's individual moral development and his influence on the broader South Park community reveals how authentic moral leadership operates through example and persuasion rather than force or manipulation, creating positive change through the power of consistent ethical behavior and the willingness to speak truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable or inconvenient for others to hear. His ability to inspire better behavior in others while maintaining respect for their autonomy and dignity demonstrates the kind of moral leadership that emerges from genuine conviction rather than desire for power or control. The philosophical implications of Stan's ethical journey touch on fundamental questions about moral education, the relationship between individual conscience and social responsibility, and the possibility of maintaining ethical integrity in a world that often seems designed to reward compromise and corruption. His continued commitment to moral reasoning and ethical behavior, despite repeated disappointment and the obvious costs of such commitment, serves as a form of existential courage that affirms the possibility of meaningful moral action even in seemingly hopeless circumstances. The way Stan's moral voice has evolved to address contemporary challenges while maintaining consistency with his established character demonstrates the flexibility and durability of well-developed ethical frameworks, showing how genuine moral principles can adapt to new situations and challenges while retaining their essential integrity and effectiveness. His ability to apply his ethical reasoning to everything from social media culture to environmental crisis to political polarization reveals the timeless relevance of fundamental moral principles, even as their specific applications must evolve to address contemporary circumstances. The technical aspects of portraying Stan's moral development consistently across hundreds of episodes and multiple decades of production required careful attention to maintaining the authenticity of his ethical voice, while allowing for natural growth and change in his understanding and application of moral principles. The success of this effort speaks to both the fundamental soundness of his character conception and the commitment of the creative team to treating his moral development as a serious aspect of character growth rather than merely a convenient plot device. The cultural impact of Stan's moral voice extends beyond entertainment to influence broader conversations about ethical reasoning, moral education, and the role of individual conscience in addressing social problems, creating a fictional character whose approach to moral questions has become a reference point for discussions about how ethical principles should be applied in contemporary society. His realistic portrayal of moral development has contributed to cultural conversations about the sophistication of children's ethical reasoning and the importance of taking young people's moral concerns seriously. The psychological realism of Stan's moral struggles reflects the creator's understanding that effective moral education occurs not through preaching or simple rule following, but through the complex process of applying ethical principles to specific situations while learning from both success and failure in that application. His journey demonstrates that moral development is an active, ongoing process that requires both intellectual rigor and emotional courage, creating a model of ethical reasoning that combines principled conviction with practical wisdom and genuine compassion for all those affected by moral decisions. In the quiet contemplation of Stan's ethical journey, we recognize that his role as moral compass serves not to provide easy answers to complex questions, but to demonstrate the process of ethical reasoning itself, showing how individuals can maintain their moral integrity while continuing to grow in wisdom and understanding. His story reminds us that moral courage is not the absence of doubt or uncertainty, but the willingness to act according to our highest understanding despite those doubts, and that genuine moral leadership emerges not from perfection, but from the sincere commitment to doing better, learning more, and never abandoning the fundamental conviction that ethical behavior matters, even when its immediate effects seem minimal, or its long-term consequences remain uncertain in a world that often appears indifferent to individual moral effort. In the intricate psychology of father-son relationships within contemporary family structures, few dynamics reveal as much complexity, frustration, and unexpected tenderness as the evolving bond between Stanley Marsh and his father Randy, whose relationship serves as both comedic goldmine and profound exploration of how parental behavior shapes childhood development, and how children learn to navigate the disappointing reality that their parents are flawed human beings, rather than the infallible authorities they once appeared to be. During the innocent years of early childhood, when the world seemed more stable and adult wisdom felt reliable and consistent, the foundation of Stan and Randy's relationship reflects the universal experience of children gradually discovering that their parents possess the same capacity for poor judgment, selfishness, and emotional immaturity that characterizes all human beings, creating the difficult psychological adjustment that occurs when idealized parental figures reveal themselves to be complex individuals with their own unresolved issues, personal limitations, and tendency toward behavior that embarrasses rather than inspires their children, who must somehow reconcile their need for parental guidance with the growing awareness that such guidance may not always be available or trustworthy. The evolution of Randy Marsh, from relatively normal suburban father into the increasingly erratic and self-absorbed character he becomes throughout the series, represents one of the most psychologically realistic portrayals of midlife crisis and masculine insecurity in contemporary media, demonstrating how adult identity crises can manifest in behavior that places enormous emotional burden on children who find themselves forced to become the responsible parties in relationships where traditional parent-child dynamics have become inverted through parental regression and the abandonment of adult responsibilities in favor of pursuing immediate gratification and personal validation. The specific incidents that define Stan's embarrassment and frustration with his father's behavior reveal the genuine psychological toll that parental dysfunction can place on children who find themselves caught between their natural love and loyalty toward their parents and their growing, Recognition that parental behavior often falls far short of the standards of maturity and responsibility that children have every right to expect from the adults who are supposed to provide guidance, stability, and protection during the vulnerable years of childhood and adolescent development. Randy's various obsessions and enthusiasms, from his dedication to getting testicular cancer to pursue medical marijuana, to his involvement in various get-rich-quick schemes and social movements, demonstrate the psychological pattern of adults who seek to recapture lost youth or avoid adult responsibilities through increasingly desperate attempts to find meaning and excitement outside the mundane but necessary work of family life and personal maturity. These behaviors create ongoing stress for Stan, who finds himself in the position of being more psychologically mature and socially responsible than his own father. The reversal of traditional parent-child roles that characterizes much of Stan and Randy's relationship reflects broader cultural patterns around extended adolescence and the difficulty that some adults experience in accepting the responsibilities and limitations that come with maturity, creating family dynamics where children are forced to develop adult-level emotional regulation and decision-making capabilities years before they should need such skills, simply to maintain family stability and protect themselves from the consequences of parental immaturity and poor judgment. The moments of genuine connection that occasionally emerge between Stan and Randy provide crucial glimpses of what their relationship might have been under different circumstances, revealing that underneath Randy's various neuroses and attention-seeking behaviors lies a genuine love for his son and periodic recognition of his own shortcomings as a parent. These rare instances of authentic father-son bonding demonstrate that their relationship retains the potential for healthy development, despite the ongoing challenges created by Randy's inability to consistently function as a stable parental figure. The psychological impact of Randy's behavior on Stan's developing understanding of masculinity and adult responsibility creates complex internal conflicts, as Stan struggles to separate the positive aspects of his father's trained personality from the problematic patterns of behavior that embarrass and frustrate him. This challenge requires Stan to develop his own independent understanding of what it means to be a man and a responsible adult, while avoiding both the complete rejection of his father's influence and the uncritical acceptance of Randy's approach to life and relationships. The way Stan responds to his father's various crises and schemes reveals his natural protective instincts and his growing capacity to function as the stable, responsible party in their relationship despite his chronological age and legitimate need for parental guidance and support. His willingness to help his father while maintaining appropriate emotional boundaries demonstrates remarkable psychological maturity and suggests that Randy's dysfunction, while harmful in many ways, has also inadvertently fostered the development of resilience and independence in his son. The specific episodes that focus on Randy's marijuana farming and Tegrity Farms represent a particularly intense period in their relationship, where Randy's midlife reinvention forces the entire family to relocate and adapt to his new lifestyle choices, creating additional stress and instability for Stan, who finds his own life and friendships disrupted by his father's pursuit of personal fulfillment and business success in the cannabis industry. This storyline demonstrates how parental decisions made without adequate consideration for their impact on children can create lasting consequences for family relationships and individual development. The way Randy's behavior affects Stan's social life and peer relationships reveals another dimension of the psychological burden that parental dysfunction can place on children who find themselves explaining, apologizing for, or trying to distance themselves from parental actions that create embarrassment or social complications within their own peer groups and community relationships. Stan's need to manage the social consequences of his father's behavior forces him to develop sophisticated skills in damage control and reputation management that should not be necessary for someone his age. The contrast between Randy's self-perception as a caring and involved father and the reality of how his behavior actually affects his son creates ongoing tension within their relationship as Stan struggles with the gap between his father's good intentions and the actual impact of Randy's actions on family stability and Stan's emotional well-being. This disconnect between parental intention and effect reflects common patterns in dysfunctional family relationships where adults convince themselves that their behavior serves their children's interests while remaining blind to the actual consequences of their choices. The role that Sharon plays in mediating between Stan and Randy provides crucial insight into the family dynamics that shape their relationship, revealing how she attempts to balance support for her husband's various endeavors with protection of her son's emotional needs and stability. Her position as intermediary often places her in the impossible situation of trying to explain or justify Randy's behavior, while also acknowledging its problematic nature, creating additional complexity within the family system that affects all relationships within the household. The psychological development that Stan undergoes as a result of managing his relationship with Randy demonstrates both the resilience that children can develop when faced with parental challenges and the ongoing emotional costs of being forced to mature beyond one's years in response to family dysfunction. His ability to maintain love and loyalty toward his father while developing realistic expectations and appropriate boundaries reveals sophisticated emotional intelligence that serves him well in other relationships, but should not have been necessary to develop so early in his life. The way Randy's various business ventures and personal projects affect the family's financial stability and living situation creates additional stress for Stan, who must cope with the uncertainty and disruption that result from his father's impulsive decision-making and poor business judgment. These experiences teach Stan important lessons about financial responsibility and the consequences of pursuing dreams without adequate planning or consideration for family obligations, though these lessons come at considerable emotional cost. The philosophical questions that emerge from examining Stan and Randy's relationship touch on fundamental issues about parental responsibility, the balance between individual fulfillment and family obligations, and the ways that adult behavior during midlife crises can affect children's development and future relationship patterns. Their dynamic serves as a case study in how family relationships can simultaneously provide love and support while also creating stress and dysfunction that shapes individual psychology in complex and lasting ways. The evolution of their relationship over time reveals Stan's growing ability to accept his father's limitations while maintaining appropriate expectations for parental behavior and support, demonstrating the healthy psychological process through which children learn to see their parents as imperfect human beings, without abandoning their need for family connection and support. This development requires Stan to mourn the loss of his idealized image of his father while learning to appreciate Randy's positive qualities and genuine love despite his obvious flaws and limitations. The way their relationship reflects broader cultural patterns around contemporary masculinity and fatherhood provides insight into the challenges facing modern families, where traditional role definitions and expectations are changing while new models for healthy family functioning remain unclear or inconsistent. Randy's struggles with his identity and purpose reflect common midlife challenges for men who grew up with certain expectations about career, family, and personal fulfillment that may not align with contemporary social and economic realities. The impact of Randy's behavior on Stan's future relationship expectations and patterns remains an ongoing concern as Stan learns to navigate the complex task of maintaining family relationships while protecting his own emotional well-being and developing his independent identity. The skills he develops in managing his father's dysfunction will likely influence how he approaches future relationships and his own eventual role as a parent, creating both opportunities for breaking negative family patterns and risks of carrying forward problematic relationship dynamics. The moments of genuine pride and affection that Randy occasionally displays towards Stan reveal the authentic parental love that exists beneath the surface of their complicated relationship, providing Stan with evidence that his father's problematic behavior stems from personal struggles rather than lack of care for his family. These positive interactions serve as psychological anchors that help Stan maintain hope for their relationship's potential, while also providing models for healthier forms of father-son connection. The way their relationship demonstrates the ongoing nature of family development and the possibility for positive change, even within established patterns of dysfunction, provides hope that their connection can continue evolving as both Stan and Randy mature and develop greater self-awareness and emotional regulation skills. The fundamental love that underlies their relationship suggests that with appropriate effort and commitment, they may eventually develop the kind of father-son bond that serves both their needs while respecting their individual personalities and life circumstances. In the gentle acknowledgement of the complex love that binds fathers and sons even through disappointment and dysfunction, we recognize that Stan and Randy's relationship represents the universal human struggle to maintain family connections, while navigating the painful reality that those we love most deeply are also capable of causing us the greatest frustration and emotional confusion, teaching us that authentic family relationships require the ability to hold both love and disappointment, loyalty and boundaries, hope and realistic expectations in the delicate balance that allows families to function despite their imperfections. In the profound landscape of human friendship, where souls recognize their deepest kinship and forge bonds that transcend the ordinary boundaries of social connection, few relationships in contemporary storytelling demonstrate the complexity, depth, and enduring strength that characterizes the extraordinary partnership between Stanley Marsh and Kyle Broflovsky, whose friendship serves as the emotional and moral foundation upon which the entire South Park universe rests, creating a model of authentic human connection that combines intellectual compatibility, ethical alignment, and genuine emotional intimacy in ways that illuminate both the possibilities and challenges of maintaining meaningful relationships in an increasingly fragmented and polarized world. The genesis of Stan and Kyle's friendship reveals the mysterious alchemy through which certain individuals discover in each other not merely compatible personalities or shared interests, but genuine intellectual and spiritual companions whose minds operate on similar wavelengths and whose hearts respond to the same moral imperatives, creating the kind of deep mutual understanding that allows for authentic communication about the most complex and sensitive topics without fear of judgment, misunderstanding, or the kind of superficial responses that characterize most social interactions, even among people who consider themselves close friends. The philosophical discussions that punctuate their relationship throughout the series demonstrate the rare quality of their intellectual connection, revealing two minds that challenge and stimulate each other, while maintaining the mutual respect and genuine curiosity that allows disagreement to strengthen rather than threaten their bond. Their conversations about religion, politics, social justice, and personal ethics reveal the sophistication of their thinking and their shared commitment to grappling with difficult questions rather than accepting easy answers or retreating into comfortable but shallow consensus about complex moral paths and philosophical issues. The way Stan and Kyle balance and complement each other's perspectives creates a dynamic partnership where Kyle's passionate intensity and intellectual rigor provide the driving force for moral analysis, while Stan's emotional intelligence and intuitive understanding of human psychology offer grounding and practical wisdom that prevents their shared idealism from becoming disconnected from reality or insensitive to the genuine complexities of human nature and social relationships. This balance allows them to achieve insights and understanding that neither could reach independently. The moral debates that characterize their friendship reveal the healthy tension that exists between two individuals who share fundamental values but approach ethical questions from slightly different angles, creating the kind of productive disagreement that deepens understanding rather than creating division or resentment. Their ability to argue passionately about important issues while maintaining underlying respect and affection demonstrates the psychological security and emotional maturity that distinguishes genuine friendship from mere social convenience or superficial compatibility. The specific episodes that test their friendship serve as crucial examinations of the limits and strength of their bond, revealing how authentic relationships must survive not only external pressures and social challenges, but also the internal tensions that arise when individual growth, changing circumstances, or fundamental disagreements threaten to undermine the shared assumptions and mutual understanding that form the foundation of deep friendship. These testing periods demonstrate both the fragility and resilience of human connection. The Asperger's storyline represents perhaps the most profound challenge their friendship has faced, where Stan's depression and growing sense of alienation create psychological barriers that prevent him from accessing the emotional resources necessary for maintaining close relationships, while Kyle struggles to understand and respond to changes in his friend that seem to threaten everything they have shared and valued together. This crisis reveals how mental health issues can affect even the strongest relationships and require both patience and professional support to navigate successfully. The way they handle their disagreements about complex social and political issues demonstrates their shared commitment to truth and justice, while also revealing the different temperaments and approaches they bring to moral reasoning and social action. Kyle's tendency toward righteous anger and immediate action balances Stan's inclination toward careful analysis and measured response, creating a partnership that combines passion with prudence in ways that make their collaborative efforts more effective than either could achieve alone. The evolution of their friendship from childhood simplicity to adolescent complexity reflects the natural development that occurs when deep relationships must adapt to changing circumstances, growing self-awareness, and the increasing demands of individual identity formation during the transition from childhood dependency to adult independence. Their ability to maintain connection while allowing for individual growth demonstrates the flexibility and mutual respect that characterizes mature friendship. The role they play as co-protagonists in South Park's moral universe creates additional pressure on their relationship as they consistently find themselves thrust into situations where they must work together to address community, crises, social problems, and ethical challenges that would overwhelm individuals but become manageable through their collaborative approach to problem solving and mutual support. Their partnership in these endeavors reveals both their individual strengths and the synergistic effects of their combined efforts. The rare moments when they find themselves at genuine odds about fundamental questions create opportunities to examine the limits of even the closest friendships and the ways that authentic relationships must sometimes endure periods of distance or disagreement while maintaining underlying loyalty and hope for eventual reconciliation. These episodes reveal that healthy friendships require the ability to respect differences while maintaining connection, and to disagree about important matters without allowing those disagreements to destroy the foundation of mutual care and respect. The way their friendship influences their individual character development demonstrates how healthy relationships serve as catalysts for personal growth rather than obstacles to individual achievement, creating environments where both parties can explore their potential, challenge their assumptions, and develop their capabilities with the security that comes from knowing they have genuine support and encouragement from someone who understands and values their essential nature and highest aspirations. The psychological security that their friendship provides serves as a stabilizing force that allows both Stan and Kyle to take risks, express vulnerability, and engage with challenging situations because they know they have a reliable source of understanding, support, and honest feedback that will help them navigate difficulties and learn from both successes and failures. This security creates the foundation for the kind of personal courage and moral leadership they consistently demonstrate throughout their adventures. The intellectual stimulation that characterizes their relationship reflects their shared love of ideas, learning, and meaningful conversation about topics that matter to them personally and socially, creating an environment where both can develop their thinking, explore complex questions, and refine their understanding of themselves and the world around them through dialogue with someone whose intelligence they respect and whose perspective they value even when they disagree with specific conclusions or approaches. The emotional intimacy that underlies their friendship allows for the kind of authentic self-expression and mutual vulnerability that creates genuine human connection rather than merely pleasant social interaction, enabling both to share their fears, hopes, disappointments, and dreams with someone who listens without judgment while offering both empathy and honest counsel when such guidance is requested or needed for important decisions and life challenges. The way their friendship serves as a model for healthy masculine relationship demonstrates the possibility for deep emotional connection between boys and men that goes beyond competition, hierarchy, or the kind of superficial bonding that often characterizes male friendships in contemporary culture, creating an example of how authentic friendship can provide the emotional support and understanding that all human beings need for healthy psychological development and personal fulfillment, regardless of gender expectations or social pressures. The loyalty that binds their relationship transcends simple friendship to encompass genuine commitment to each other's well-being and happiness, creating the kind of mutual devotion that ensures each will make personal sacrifices when necessary to support the other through difficult periods, while also celebrating each other's successes and achievements without the jealousy or competition that can undermine less secure relationships between ambitious and capable individuals. The way they navigate the social pressures and peer dynamics that could potentially threaten their friendship reveals their shared understanding of what matters most in relationships and their mutual commitment to protecting their connection from external forces that might seek to exploit, manipulate, or undermine the trust and affection they have built through years of shared experience, mutual support, and collaborative growth through various challenges and adventures. The communication patterns that characterize their relationship demonstrate the kind of honest, direct, and respectful dialogue that allows for genuine understanding and effective collaboration, showing how authentic friendship requires the ability to speak truthfully about difficult topics, while also listening carefully and responding thoughtfully to ensure that both parties feel heard, understood, and valued within the relationship dynamic. The shared values that form the foundation of their friendship create alignment around fundamental questions of ethics, justice, and human dignity, while also allowing for individual interpretation and application of those values in ways that reflect their different personalities, experiences, and approaches to moral reasoning and social action. This combination of shared principles and individual freedom creates the ideal conditions for both personal growth and collaborative effectiveness. The way their friendship has evolved to address contemporary challenges while maintaining its essential character demonstrates the adaptability and resilience of authentic human connection when based on genuine mutual understanding, respect, and commitment to each other's well-being and growth. Their ability to face new situations and social changes while maintaining their partnership reveals the timeless qualities that make their relationship both entertaining and instructive for audiences seeking models of healthy friendship. The future potential of their relationship suggests that the foundation they have built through childhood and adolescence will serve them well as they transition into adult responsibilities and challenges, providing the kind of lifelong friendship that enriches individual lives, while also creating positive influence within their broader community and social circles through their example of what authentic human connection can achieve when nurtured with patience, honesty, and genuine care for each other's happiness and success. In the quiet recognition of the rare gift that true friendship represents in human experience, we understand that Stan and Kyle's relationship serves not merely as entertainment but as a reminder of the profound possibilities that exist when individuals discover in each other the kind of genuine understanding, mutual respect, and shared commitment to growth and goodness that allows friendship to transcend ordinary social connection and become a source of strength, wisdom, and joy that enriches all aspects of life, while inspiring others to seek and create similar bonds of authentic human connection. In the profound darkness of psychological suffering where hope retreats and the familiar world transforms into something alien and hostile, few characters in contemporary media have navigated the treacherous waters of clinical depression with the raw honesty and devastating authenticity that marks Stanley Marsh's journey through his most challenging period of emotional and spiritual crisis, a descent into mental illness that strips away the comfortable illusions of childhood and adolescence to reveal the harsh realities of adult existence, while demonstrating how even the most resilient and morally grounded individuals can find themselves overwhelmed by the weight of accumulated disappointment and the growing recognition that the world operates according to principles that contradict their deepest beliefs about fairness, meaning, and the possibility of genuine human connection. The genesis of Stan's depressive episode emerges not from a single traumatic event, but from the gradual accumulation of disillusionment and disappointment that builds over years of witnessing adult hypocrisy, social injustice, and the apparent futility of trying to maintain ethical principles in a world that consistently rewards selfishness, manipulation, and the abandonment of moral responsibility in favor of immediate gratification and personal advantage. This realistic portrayal of depression's onset reflects the complex interplay of psychological, social, and environmental factors that contribute to mental health crises. During the vulnerable transition from childhood innocence to adult awareness, the specific manifestation of Stan's depression through his altered perception of music and entertainment, where everything begins to sound like literal excrement to his ears, represents one of the most creative and psychologically accurate depictions of how depression affects sensory experience and the ability to find pleasure or meaning in activities that previously provided joy and connection to others. This symptom, known clinically as anhedonia, captures the isolating nature of depression and the way that mental illness can create barriers between individuals and the sources of comfort and pleasure that might otherwise provide relief from psychological distress. The metaphorical brilliance of Stan's auditory hallucinations extends beyond simple comedy to encompass profound insights into the subjective experience of depression and the way that mental illness can distort perception in ways that feel absolutely real and valid to the sufferer while appearing incomprehensible or even deliberately oppositional to those who have not experienced similar psychological states. His frustrated attempts to explain his altered perception to family and friends who cannot hear what he hears reflects the isolation and communication difficulties that often accompany mental health struggles. The relationship between Stan's depression and his growing cynicism about human nature reveals the complex feedback loops that can develop between psychological vulnerability and social awareness, where increased sensitivity to injustice and hypocrisy creates emotional distress, while the resulting depression makes it more difficult to access the psychological resources necessary for maintaining hope and continuing to work for positive change. This dynamic demonstrates how mental health issues can both result from and contribute to social alienation and the loss of faith in human potential for goodness. The impact of Stan's depression on his family relationships reveals the ripple effects that mental illness creates throughout social systems, affecting not only the individual sufferer, but all those who care about them and must witness their suffering while struggling to understand, support, and maintain hope for recovery. His parents' confusion and growing frustration with his altered behavior reflects the common experience of families dealing with mental health crises where love and good intentions prove insufficient for addressing problems that require professional intervention and treatment. The way Stan's condition affects his friendships demonstrates how depression can create barriers to the very relationships that might provide crucial support during difficult periods, as his inability to enjoy shared activities and his negative perception of experiences that his friends find meaningful creates distance and misunderstanding that compounds his sense of isolation and alienation. The strain that his condition places on his relationship with Kyle reveals how even the strongest friendships can be tested by mental health challenges that alter fundamental aspects of personality and social functioning. The divorce storyline that emerges from the family's inability to cope with Stan's condition and the broader dysfunction it reveals represents one of the most realistic and devastating consequences of untreated mental health issues within family systems, showing how individual psychological crises can expose and exacerbate existing relationship problems while creating new sources of stress and instability that affect every family member. The dissolution of his parents' marriage during this period compounds Stan's depression by eliminating the family stability that might otherwise provide crucial support during his recovery. The physical relocation that follows his parents' separation forces Stan to confront additional losses and disruptions during a period when his psychological resources are already severely depleted, creating the kind of multiple stressors that can deepen depression and make recovery more difficult by eliminating familiar environments, support systems, and routine activities that might otherwise provide anchoring points during psychological instability. His move to the farm represents both literal and symbolic exile from the community and relationships that have defined his identity. The portrayal of Stan's life on the farm during his parents' separation reveals the complex relationship between environmental change and psychological healing, showing how isolation from previous stresses can provide temporary relief, while also eliminating the social connections and meaningful activities that are essential for long-term mental health and recovery. His experience during this period reflects the common tension between the need for temporary retreat and the importance of maintaining engagement with life and relationships. The way Stan's depression manifests in his interactions with new people and situations demonstrates how mental health issues can create self-perpetuating cycles where altered perception and behavior patterns elicit responses from others that confirm and reinforce negative beliefs about oneself and the world. His difficulty forming new relationships and his tendency to interpret neutral or even positive social interactions through the lens of his depression illustrates how mental illness can distort social reality in ways that maintain and deepen psychological distress. The gradual process of Stan's recovery reveals the complex and often non-linear nature of healing from depression, showing how improvement requires not just the resolution of immediate symptoms but the rebuilding of hope, the rediscovery of meaning and pleasure, and the reconstruction of identity and relationships that have been damaged by the mental health crisis. His slow return to emotional stability reflects the realistic timeline and challenges involved in recovering from serious depression, while maintaining the fundamental changes in perspective that the experience has created. The role that music plays in Stan's eventual recovery, as his altered perception gradually returns to normal, and he begins to hear beauty rather than ugliness in artistic expression, represents the restoration of his capacity for aesthetic appreciation and emotional connection that depression had temporarily eliminated. This recovery of sensory pleasure serves as both symptom and catalyst of broader psychological healing, demonstrating how depression affects multiple dimensions of human experience, and how recovery involves the gradual restoration of normal functioning across all these areas. The way Stan's experience with depression changes his understanding of himself and others reveals the potential for psychological crisis to serve as a catalyst for deeper self-awareness and empathy, even as it causes tremendous suffering and disruption in the short term. His increased sensitivity to others' emotional states and his greater appreciation for mental health as a precious and fragile resource reflect the wisdom that can emerge from surviving serious psychological challenges, though such wisdom comes at considerable personal cost. The impact of Stan's depression on his moral development and ethical reasoning demonstrates how mental health issues can temporarily compromise even the strongest character traits and most consistent behavioral patterns, while also revealing the resilience of core personality characteristics and values that persist even through severe psychological distress. His fundamental decency and commitment to justice remain intact, even when his capacity to act on these values becomes limited by his mental state. The relationship between Stan's individual recovery and his family's healing process reveals the interconnected nature of psychological wellness within family systems, and the way that individual mental health affects and is affected by the emotional climate and relationship dynamics of the household environment. The gradual reconciliation of his parents and the restoration of family stability both contributes to and results from improvements in Stan's mental state and overall functioning. The long-term consequences of Stan's depressive episode include both positive and negative changes in his personality, relationships, and approach to life challenges, showing how surviving mental health crises can create lasting alterations in individual psychology that affect all future experiences and relationships. His increased emotional maturity and deeper appreciation for psychological wellness represent positive outcomes, while his ongoing vulnerability to depression and heightened sensitivity to stress reflect the permanent changes that serious mental health episodes can create. The way Stan's experience with depression informs his approach to helping others who face similar challenges demonstrates how personal suffering can be transformed into compassion and practical wisdom that benefits not only the individual who has suffered, but also members of their community who may face similar difficulties. His increased ability to recognize signs of depression in others and his willingness to offer support and understanding reflect the positive social consequences that can emerge from individual healing and growth. The philosophical implications of Stan's journey through depression and recovery touch on fundamental questions about the nature of suffering, the relationship between psychological pain and personal growth, and the possibility of finding meaning and purpose, even in the midst of mental health challenges that seem to negate all sources of value and significance. His experience suggests that while depression creates genuine suffering that should not be romanticized or minimized, surviving such challenges can contribute to deeper understanding and appreciation of life's possibilities. The broader cultural significance of Stan's depression storyline lies in its realistic portrayal of mental health challenges during adolescence and its demonstration that even fictional characters who serve as moral exemplars can experience serious psychological difficulties without losing their essential humanity or their capacity for eventual recovery and continued growth. This representation helps reduce stigma around mental health issues while providing hope for viewers who may be facing similar challenges in their own lives. In the gentle recognition that psychological suffering represents a universal aspect of human experience that touches even the strongest and most resilient individuals, we understand that Stan's journey through depression serves not as entertainment, but as testimony to both the profound pain that mental illness can cause and the remarkable capacity for healing and recovery that exists within the both profound pain. Human spirit, when supported by appropriate treatment, understanding relationships, and the fundamental hope that difficulties are temporary, while the potential for joy, meaning, and connection remains permanent, even when temporarily obscured by the darkness of psychological crisis. In the delicate universe of childhood romance where first love unfolds with all the intensity and confusion that accompanies the awakening of deep emotional connection, few relationships in contemporary storytelling have captured the authentic complexity, genuine tenderness, and inevitable heartbreak that characterizes the evolving bond between Stanley Marsh and Wendy Testerberger, whose on-again, off-again romance serves as both a touchstone for emotional development and a mirror reflecting the broader challenges of maintaining meaningful relationships in a world that consistently tests the resilience of human connection. Through social pressure, personal growth, and the inevitable changes that occur as individuals mature and discover new aspects of their identity and desires, the genesis of Stan and Wendy's relationship emerges from the innocent attraction and genuine affection that characterizes first love at its most pure and uncomplicated, representing that brief period in emotional development when romantic feelings exist without the cynicism, calculation, and self-protection mechanisms that later experiences often create in response to disappointment and heartbreak. Their early interactions reveal the natural chemistry and mutual respect that forms the foundation of authentic romantic connection, suggesting that their relationship possesses the essential ingredients for lasting happiness if external circumstances and personal development allow such potential to flourish. The evolution of their romance throughout the series reflects the realistic challenges that face young people attempting to maintain meaningful relationships while navigating the complex demands of personal growth, social expectations, and the inevitable changes in interests, priorities, and identity that occur during the transition from childhood through adolescence into early adulthood. Their pattern of breaking up and reconciling mirrors the common experience of young couples who genuinely care for each other but must repeatedly renegotiate the terms of their connection as they discover new aspects of themselves and their desires for the future. The psychological complexity that underlies their relationship dynamics reveals the sophisticated understanding of human emotion and relationship development that distinguishes their romance from simpler portrayals of childhood love, showing how genuine romantic connection involves not just mutual attraction and shared interests, but also the ongoing work of understanding, accepting, and supporting each other through various phases of personal development and the external pressures that can threaten even the strongest emotional bonds between individuals who love each other deeply. The way Stan and Wendy handle their disagreements and conflicts demonstrates the potential for healthy relationship dynamics, even within the context of young love, showing how genuine respect and affection can create the foundation for productive conflict resolution and mutual growth, even when facing issues that might destroy relationships based on less solid emotional and psychological foundations. Their ability to argue passionately about important topics while maintaining underlying care and consideration for each other's feelings reveals the maturity and genuine commitment that characterizes their connection. The specific episodes that focus on their relationship challenges reveal the various internal and external pressures that constrain romantic connections, from simple misunderstandings and communication failures to more complex issues involving personal values, social expectations, and the competing demands of individual development versus relationship maintenance. These storylines provide realistic portrayals of how even loving couples must navigate differences in personality, priorities, and approaches to life challenges while maintaining the mutual respect and emotional intimacy that keeps their bond strong. Wendy's influence on Stan's understanding of feminism and social justice represents one of the most significant positive aspects of their relationship, demonstrating how romantic partnerships can serve as vehicles for personal growth and expanded awareness of important social and political issues that might otherwise remain outside an individual's experience or consideration. Her passionate commitment to various causes challenges Stan to think more deeply about issues of equality, justice, and social responsibility, while also providing him with opportunities to support her activism and advocacy work. The way their relationship reflects broader cultural conversations about gender roles, relationship expectations, and the balance between individual autonomy and romantic commitment provides insight into contemporary challenges facing young people who must navigate traditional relationship models while also responding to changing social expectations and evolving understanding of what constitutes healthy partnership dynamics between equals who respect each other's independence and personal goals. The realistic portrayal of young love's complications through Stan and Wendy's relationship acknowledges both the genuine depth of emotion that young people can experience and the legitimate challenges they face in maintaining romantic connections while dealing with the normal developmental tasks of adolescence, family pressures, peer influences, and the ongoing process of identity formation that can create tensions between who they are individually and who they become within the context of their romantic partnership. The breakup episodes that punctuate their relationship provide opportunities to explore the profound emotional impact that romantic loss can have on young people, while also examining the various factors that can contribute to relationship dissolution, from external pressures and misunderstandings to fundamental incompatibilities and the natural changes that occur as individuals grow and develop different interests, values, and life goals that may not always align with their romantic partner's trajectory. The reconciliation patterns that characterize their relationship demonstrate both the resilience of genuine love and the complex psychology involved in rebuilding trust and intimacy after romantic disappointment, showing how couples who share fundamental compatibility and mutual respect can often find ways to overcome temporary obstacles and communication failures if both parties remain committed to understanding each other and working through their differences constructively and patiently. The way Stan processes romantic disappointment and relationship challenges reveals his emotional intelligence and capacity for learning from difficult experiences rather than allowing heartbreak to create cynicism or defensive barriers that might prevent future emotional connections and romantic growth. His ability to maintain hope and continue investing in their relationship despite periodic setbacks demonstrates the kind of emotional courage and commitment that characterizes mature approaches to romantic love. The role that their relationship plays in Stan's broader character development shows how romantic experiences can serve as catalysts for personal growth and increased self-awareness, providing opportunities to develop empathy, communication skills, and emotional regulation abilities that benefit not only romantic relationships but also friendships, family connections, and overall psychological wellness and social functioning throughout life. The mutual respect that characterizes Stan and Wendy's interactions, even during periods of conflict or separation, reflects the genuine foundation of their connection and suggests that their relationship provides both individuals with valuable experiences in healthy relationship dynamics that will serve them well regardless of whether their romantic connection ultimately proves to be temporary or lasting as they continue to mature and develop their adult identities and life goals. The way their relationship addresses contemporary issues and social challenges provides opportunities for both characters to engage with important topics, while also demonstrating how romantic partnerships can become vehicles for shared activism and mutual support in pursuing social justice and positive change within their community and broader society. Their collaboration on various causes reveals how romantic love can enhance rather than compete with individual commitment to important principles and social responsibility. The psychological realism of their relationship challenges acknowledges that genuine love between young people involves more than simple attraction or shared interests, requiring ongoing emotional work, communication skills, and the ability to navigate the complex balance between individual development and relationship maintenance that characterizes all successful long-term partnerships, regardless of the age at which they begin or the specific circumstances that shape their evolution over time. The way Stan and Wendy's relationship has evolved to address changing social contexts while maintaining its essential emotional authenticity demonstrates how well-developed fictional relationships can adapt to contemporary issues and concerns while preserving the fundamental human emotions and experiences that make romantic connection meaningful and relatable across different cultural and historical contexts, suggesting that their love story touches on timeless aspects of human experience. The impact of external pressures on their relationship, from family expectations and peer influences to broader social and cultural forces, provides realistic context for understanding how individual romantic connections exist within larger systems that can either support or undermine the development of healthy partnership dynamics, showing how young couples must navigate not only their own emotions and compatibility, but also the various external factors that influence their ability to maintain their connection. The communication patterns that characterize their relationship demonstrate both the potential for healthy dialogue between young people who respect each other and the ongoing challenges of developing effective communication skills while managing the intense emotions and changing circumstances that accompany romantic relationships during periods of significant personal development and social change. The way their relationship serves as a model for other young people within the South Park universe and beyond reflects the positive influence that healthy romantic relationships can have within communities, providing examples of mutual respect, effective conflict resolution, and the integration of individual growth with romantic commitment that can inspire others to pursue similar standards in their own relationships and personal development. The long-term implications of Stan and Wendy's relationship for their individual character development suggest that regardless of whether their romantic connection ultimately proves to be permanent or temporary, the experiences they share provide both individuals with valuable lessons about love, communication, respect, and the complex process of maintaining meaningful relationships while pursuing individual growth and social responsibility in an increasingly complex and challenging world. In the gentle recognition that first love represents one of the most profound and formative experiences in human development, we understand that Stan and Wendy's relationship serves not merely as entertainment, but as an exploration of the universal challenges and rewards that accompany the awakening of romantic feeling and the ongoing work of maintaining emotional connection with another person, while continuing to grow and develop as individuals capable of both independent achievement and meaningful partnership throughout the various phases of life's journey toward maturity and understanding. In the complex psychology of natural leadership, where certain individuals discover within themselves the capacity to inspire others toward collective action and meaningful change, few characters demonstrate the reluctant heroism and authentic moral authority that defines Stanley Marsh's evolution from ordinary child into the kind of leader who emerges not through ambition or self-promotion, but through the organic recognition by others that he possesses the rare combination of wisdom, courage, and genuine concern for community welfare that makes effective leadership possible, even in the most challenging and chaotic circumstances that test the limits of individual resolve and collective cooperation. The foundation of Stan's leadership abilities emerges from his natural empathy and intuitive understanding of human psychology, qualities that allow him to recognize what others truly need rather than what they claim to want, creating the capacity to make decisions that serve long-term collective interests, even when such choices require difficult, short-term sacrifices or the willingness to challenge popular but misguided approaches to complex problems. His leadership style reflects genuine service orientation rather than personal aggrandizement, demonstrating how authentic authority develops from competence and character, rather than manipulation or the exploitation of others' weaknesses and fears. The reluctant nature of Stan's heroism reveals the psychological authenticity of his character and the realistic portrayal of how genuine leadership often emerges from individuals who would prefer to avoid the burdens and responsibilities of authority, but find themselves compelled by circumstances and moral conviction to step forward when their communities face challenges that require coordinated response and principled decision-making. His consistent preference for normalcy and personal anonymity makes his willingness to accept leadership roles even more meaningful and demonstrates the kind of selfless service that characterizes the most effective forms of social blessers, leadership. The specific episodes where Stan finds himself thrust into leadership positions reveal the various ways that communities naturally turn to individuals who demonstrate competence, integrity, and genuine concern for collective welfare, showing how leadership selection often occurs through informal processes where those with the strongest moral compass and most reliable judgment gradually gain the trust and confidence of others, who recognize their capacity to make sound decisions under pressure and maintain focus on shared goals, rather than personal interests or partisan advantages. The natural ability that Stan demonstrates in organizing and coordinating group efforts reflects his sophisticated understanding of human motivation and group dynamics, revealing how effective leadership requires not just individual competence, but the capacity to inspire others to contribute their best efforts towards shared objectives while managing the inevitable conflicts and disagreements that arise when diverse personalities and perspectives must work together towards common goals. His success in these endeavors demonstrates both his practical skills and his emotional intelligence in managing complex interpersonal relationships. The burden that leadership responsibilities place on Stan's personal life and individual development reveals the genuine costs associated with serving others and the way that accepting authority and responsibility for group welfare requires personal sacrifices that may not be fully appreciated or understood by those who benefit from such service. His struggle to balance leadership obligations with his own needs and desires reflects the realistic challenges facing anyone who attempts to serve their community while also maintaining their individual identity and personal relationships. The way others naturally turn to Stan during times of crisis demonstrates the intuitive recognition that communities develop for individuals who possess the combination of competence, integrity, and genuine commitment to collective welfare that makes them reliable sources of guidance and support during difficult periods when clear thinking and principled action become essential for survival and recovery. This organic process of leadership selection reflects the deep human ability to identify and trust those who demonstrate authentic concern for others' well-being. The contrast between Stan's leadership approach and the manipulative tactics employed by characters like Cartman reveals the fundamental differences between authentic authority based on competence and service versus pseudo-leadership that relies on exploitation, deception, and the manipulation of others' fears and desires for personal gain. Stan's consistent focus on truth, fairness, and collective benefit stands in sharp contrast to approaches that prioritize personal power and advantage at the expense of community welfare and individual dignity. The moral framework that guides Stan's decision-making as a leader reflects his commitment to principles that transcend immediate self-interest or partisan advantage, showing how effective leadership requires the ability to maintain ethical standards even when faced with pressures to compromise values for practical benefits or political expediency. His willingness to make unpopular but necessary decisions demonstrates the kind of moral courage that distinguishes genuine leadership from mere popularity or the ability to tell people what they want to hear. The way Stan handles the inevitable conflicts and disagreements that arise within groups under his leadership reveals his sophisticated understanding of conflict resolution and his commitment to finding solutions that respect the dignity and legitimate interests of all parties, rather than simply imposing his will or favoring those with the most power or influence. His approach to managing disagreement reflects both his emotional maturity and his genuine commitment to democratic principles and collaborative decision-making. The specific challenges that Stan faces when leading groups through various crises and adventures demonstrate his ability to maintain focus on essential objectives while adapting to changing circumstances and unexpected obstacles that require flexible thinking and creative problem-solving, rather than rigid adherence to predetermined plans that may not account for the complexity and unpredictability of real-world situations. His success in navigating these challenges reflects both his practical intelligence and his emotional resilience under pressure. The relationship between Stan's leadership capabilities and his moral development shows how the experience of being responsible for others' welfare can accelerate personal growth and deepen understanding of ethical principles through the practical application of moral reasoning to specific situations where abstract principles must be translated into concrete actions that affect real people's lives and well-being. This process of moral development through leadership experience reflects the educational value of service and responsibility. The way Stan's leadership style evolves over time reveals his capacity for learning from experience and adapting his approach based on feedback and the results of previous decisions, showing how effective leadership requires ongoing self-reflection and the willingness to modify methods while maintaining consistent commitment to core values and principles. This combination of flexibility in tactics with stability in values demonstrates the kind of adaptive leadership that remains effective across different situations and challenges. The psychological toll that leadership responsibilities take on Stan's mental health and personal relationships reveals the realistic costs of serving others and the importance of maintaining appropriate boundaries and support systems to prevent burnout and the kind of emotional exhaustion that can compromise decision-making ability and personal well-being. His struggle with these challenges reflects the universal difficulties facing anyone who attempts to balance service to others with self-care and personal development. The way Stan's leadership experiences prepare him for future challenges and responsibilities demonstrates how early opportunities to practice decision-making and group coordination can build the skills and confidence necessary for more complex leadership roles later in life, suggesting that his childhood and adolescent experiences provide valuable preparation for adult responsibilities and civic engagement. This developmental process reflects the importance of providing young people with opportunities to practice leadership skills in supportive environments. The impact that Stan's leadership has on other characters' development reveals how effective leaders serve not just as decision makers and coordinators, but also as mentors and role models who inspire others to develop their own capabilities and assume greater responsibility for community welfare and collective problem solving. His influence on his friends and classmates demonstrates the multiplying effects of good leadership and the way that principled action can inspire similar behavior in others. The community recognition that Stan receives for his leadership efforts, while often understated or temporary, reflects the genuine appreciation that people feel for individuals who sacrifice personal convenience and comfort to serve others' needs and work toward collective goals that benefit everyone rather than pursuing narrow, self-interest or partisan advantage. This recognition, however modest, provides important validation for the value of service and the importance of maintaining civic engagement and community involvement. The relationship between Stan's individual character development and his growing capacity for leadership demonstrates how personal integrity, emotional intelligence, and moral reasoning serve as the foundation for effective authority and the ability to inspire others toward positive action and collective achievement. His journey shows how leadership capabilities emerge naturally from character development rather than being imposed through external training or artificial role assignment. The way Stan's leadership style reflects democratic values and collaborative decision-making reveals his commitment to respecting others' autonomy and dignity, while also maintaining the focus and coordination necessary for effective group action and problem solving. His ability to balance individual freedom with collective responsibility demonstrates sophisticated understanding of the principles that underlie healthy community functioning and effective civic engagement. The long-term implications of Stan's leadership experiences for his future development and potential civic involvement suggest that the skills, values, and confidence he develops through these early opportunities will serve him well in adult roles where leadership and service become even more important for addressing complex social challenges and maintaining healthy community relationships that support individual flourishing within collaborative, social structures, in the quiet recognition that authentic leadership emerges not from ambition or self-promotion, but from the combination of competence, integrity, and genuine concern for others' welfare. We understand that Stan's reluctant heroism serves as a model for the kind of principled leadership that communities need to address their most challenging problems, while maintaining respect for individual dignity and democratic values that ensure collective action serves human flourishing, rather than merely concentrating power in the hands of those who seek authority for its own sake, rather than as an opportunity for meaningful service to others. In the profound transformation that marks the transition from childhood innocence to adolescent complexity, where familiar certainties dissolve into questions and the comfortable boundaries of elementary existence give way to the turbulent waters of emerging adulthood, few characters have navigated the treacherous passage of growing pains with the authentic struggle and genuine vulnerability that characterizes Stanley Marsh's journey through the physical, emotional, and psychological upheaval that accompanies the inevitable process of maturation, revealing how even the most grounded and morally centered individuals must confront the disorienting reality that growing up requires abandoning cherished aspects of childhood while embracing new responsibilities and identities that may feel foreign and uncomfortable. The transition from elementary to middle school represents far more than a simple change of educational environment for Stan, encompassing instead a fundamental shift in social dynamics, academic expectations, and personal identity formation that challenges his established sense of self and forces him to develop new coping mechanisms for navigating increasingly complex social hierarchies and peer relationships that operate according to different rules and expectations than those that governed his earlier childhood experiences. This institutional transition serves as both catalyst and metaphor for the broader psychological changes that characterize adolescent development. The physical changes that accompany Stan's entry into adolescence create new forms of self-consciousness and social anxiety as he must learn to inhabit a body that no longer feels familiar or predictable, experiencing the awkwardness and uncertainty that comes with rapid growth, hormonal fluctuations, and the gradual emergence of adult physical characteristics that alter his relationship with his own identity and his interactions with peers who are undergoing similar transformations at different rates and in different ways. The emotional volatility that characterizes this period of Stan's development reflects the neurological and psychological changes occurring as his brain continues to develop the capacity for more sophisticated emotional regulation, abstract thinking, while still operating within the heightened emotional reactivity that characterizes adolescent psychology, creating internal experiences that can feel overwhelming and confusing even to someone with his typically stable temperament and strong sense of moral grounding. The challenge of maintaining childhood friendships through the turbulence of adolescent change reveals the complex dynamics that emerge when individuals who have shared deep bonds must navigate the different rates and directions of personal development, discovering that some relationships possess the flexibility and mutual commitment necessary to evolve with changing circumstances, while others may not survive the pressures and competing interests that adolescence introduces into previously stable social connections. The way Stan handles the shifting social landscape of middle school demonstrates his natural adaptability and emotional intelligence, while also revealing the genuine difficulty of maintaining his authentic identity in environments that may fierce, reward conformity, superficiality, or behaviors that conflict with his established values and sense of right and wrong. His struggle to find his place within new social structures without compromising his essential character reflects the universal challenge of adolescent identity formation. The emerging complexity of Stan's interests and hobbies during this period reveals the natural process of identity exploration that characterizes healthy adolescent development as he begins to discover new aspects of his personality and potential. while also maintaining connections to childhood activities and relationships that continue to provide meaning and joy despite the pressure to abandon such interests in favor of more age-appropriate pursuits that may not align with his genuine preferences and talents. The way peer pressure and social expectations affect Stan's decision-making during adolescence demonstrates his ongoing struggle to balance his desire for social acceptance and belonging with his commitment to moral principles and authentic self-expression, revealing how even individuals with strong ethical foundations can find themselves tempted to compromise their values when faced with the powerful psychological need to fit in and avoid the isolation that can result from standing apart from peer group norms and expectations. The evolution of Stan's relationship with authority figures during this period reflects his growing capacity for independent judgment and critical thinking, while also revealing the natural tension that emerges between adolescent autonomy needs and the continued necessity of adult guidance and support during a developmental stage characterized by increased freedom, coupled with limited life experience and still developing decision-making capabilities. The academic challenges that accompany middle school represent not just increased intellectual demands, but also the need for greater personal responsibility, time management, and independent learning skills that require Stan to develop new approaches to education and achievement, while managing the competing demands of social relationships, extracurricular activities, and the internal work of identity formation and psychological development. The way Stan navigates the emerging world of romantic interest and dating reveals his natural respect for others and his commitment to treating potential romantic partners with dignity and consideration, even as he must learn to manage the complex emotions and social dynamics that accompany romantic attraction during a period when both he and his peers are still developing the emotional maturity and communication skills necessary for healthy relationship formation and maintenance. The changes in Stan's family relationships during adolescence reflect the natural process through which parent-child dynamics must evolve to accommodate growing independence needs while maintaining appropriate boundaries and bases. Support systems that continue to provide guidance and stability during a period of significant psychological and social change. His evolving relationship with his parents requires both parties to adjust their expectations and communication patterns to reflect his increasing maturity. The impact of broader cultural and technological changes on Stan's adolescent experience demonstrates how individual development occurs within larger social contexts that shape the opportunities, challenges, and expectations that young people must navigate as they form their identities and develop their understanding of their place within contemporary society and their potential for future contribution and achievement. The way Stan processes the disappointments and setbacks that inevitably accompany adolescent growth reveals his developing resilience and his ability to learn from difficult experiences, rather than becoming overwhelmed or discouraged by temporary failures and the normal struggles that characterize the transition from childhood dependency to adult independence and self-sufficiency. The balance that Stan maintains between embracing new aspects of his identity and preserving the essential qualities that have defined his character throughout childhood demonstrates the healthy integration that characterizes successful adolescent développement, where growth and change occur without complete abandonment of established values, relationships, and personal characteristics that continue to provide stability and continuity during periods of significant transformation. The emerging awareness of his own sexuality and the complex emotions and social dynamics that accompany sexual development creates new forms of self-consciousness and interpersonal complexity that Stan must navigate while maintaining his commitment to treating others with respect and consideration, even as he explores new aspects of human experience that were previously outside his awareness or concern. The way Stan's moral reasoning becomes more sophisticated during adolescence reflects the cognitive development that accompanies this life stage, as he gains the capacity for more abstract thinking about ethical principles, while also encountering more complex moral dilemmas that require nuanced judgment rather than simple application of childhood rules and expectations about right and wrong behavior. The relationship between Stan's individual development and his continued commitment to community involvement and social responsibility demonstrates how healthy adolescent growth involves not just personal identity formation, but also the development of civic awareness and the understanding that individual flourishing occurs within social contexts that require collective attention and collaborative effort to maintain and improve. The challenges that Stan faces in managing increased freedom and responsibility during adolescence reveal both his natural maturity and the ongoing need for guidance and support as he develops the judgment and decision-making skills necessary for adult independence, while still benefiting from the wisdom and experience of adults who can help him navigate unfamiliar situations and avoid potentially harmful choices. The way Stan's creative expression evolves during this period reflects his growing sophistication and his exploration of new ways to process and communicate his experiences, thoughts, and emotions through various artistic and intellectual outlets that provide both personal satisfaction and opportunities for connection with others who share similar interests and values. The long-term implications of Stan's adolescent experiences for his future development suggest that the skills, resilience, and self-awareness he develops during this challenging period will serve him well as he continues to mature and take on adult responsibilities while maintaining the essential qualities of empathy, integrity, and commitment to others' welfare that have defined his character from childhood through the complexities of adolescent growth and change. In the gentle acknowledgement that growing up requires courage to face uncertainty and change while maintaining connection to the values and relationships that provide meaning and stability, we recognize that Stan's journey through adolescence serves as a reminder that development is an ongoing process requiring both individual effort and community support, demonstrating how young people can navigate the challenges of maturation while preserving their essential humanity and commitment to making positive contributions to the world around them. In the profound role of cultural interpreter and generational bridge that certain fictional characters assume within the broader landscape of social commentary and artistic expression, few figures have served with such consistent authenticity and insightful perspective as Stanley Marsh, in his function as the primary conduit through which audiences encounter and process the rapidly evolving challenges, contradictions, and opportunities that define contemporary life for young people, navigating an increasingly complex world where traditional certainties have dissolved and new forms of meaning and connection must be discovered through trial, error, and the kind of thoughtful engagement that Stan demonstrates throughout his encounters with the defining issues of his time. The establishment of Stan as the audience's primary entry point into South Park's sophisticated social commentary reflects the creator's understanding that effective satirical analysis requires characters who can serve as both participants in and observers of cultural phenomena, providing the emotional accessibility and relatable perspective necessary for audiences to engage with complex issues without feeling overwhelmed by cynicism or detached by intellectual distance that might prevent genuine understanding and emotional connection to the human consequences of social and political developments. The way Stan processes and responds to contemporary issues reveals his natural capacity for cutting through superficial media narratives and cultural rhetoric to identify the underlying human concerns and genuine moral questions that often become obscured by partisan positioning, sensationalism, and the kind of ideological thinking that reduces complex problems to simple talking points rather than encouraging the kind of nuanced analysis and empathetic understanding that Stan consistently demonstrates in his approach to social challenges. Stan's reactions to technological developments and the increasing influence of digital media in daily life demonstrate his intuitive understanding of both the genuine benefits and serious risks that accompany rapid technological change, showing how he navigates the balance between embracing useful innovations and maintaining critical awareness of how technology can be used to manipulate, isolate, or distract people from more fundamental human needs for authentic connection and meaningful engagement with the world around them. The generational conflicts that Stan encounters and must navigate reveal his unique position as someone who can understand and appreciate the perspectives of both younger and older community members, while maintaining his own independent judgment about which traditional values deserve preservation and which contemporary innovations represent genuine improvements in human understanding and social organization. His approach to these conflicts demonstrates wisdom beyond his years and the kind of balanced perspective that serves communities well during periods of rapid change. The way Stan addresses issues related to social media, online culture, and the increasing digitization of human interaction reflects his natural concern for maintaining authentic human connection while adapting to technological realities that fundamentally alter how people communicate, form relationships, and understand themselves and their place within broader social networks. His responses to these challenges provide insight into healthy approaches to technology integration that preserve human dignity and genuine community. Stan's engagement with environmental issues and climate change demonstrates his ability to process scientific information and long-term consequences while maintaining focus on practical solutions and individual responsibility, rather than becoming overwhelmed by the scale of global challenges or retreating into denial, despair, or the kind of performative activism that substitutes symbolic gestures for meaningful action and genuine lifestyle changes. The role that Stan plays in episodes addressing political polarization and social division reveals his natural inclination towards seeking common ground and understanding different perspectives rather than defaulting to partisan positions or tribal loyalties that prevent productive dialogue and collaborative problem-solving. His approach to political issues demonstrates how individuals can maintain strong moral convictions while remaining open to learning from others and adapting their understanding based on new information and changing circumstances. The way Stan processes rapid cultural changes and evolving social norms demonstrates his capacity for distinguishing between superficial trends that may be temporary or harmful and genuine developments in human understanding that represent progress toward greater justice, compassion, and individual flourishing within healthy community structures that support both personal freedom and collective responsibility. Stan's responses to economic inequality and social justice issues reveal his natural empathy for those who face systemic disadvantages, while also demonstrating his understanding that sustainable solutions require both individual compassion and structural changes that address root causes, rather than merely treating symptoms through temporary assistance or symbolic gestures that may provide emotional satisfaction without creating lasting positive change. The philosophical sophistication that Stan brings to contemporary debates about identity, purpose, and meaning reflects his recognition that individual fulfillment and social progress require both personal authenticity and genuine concern for others' welfare, creating the foundation for approaches to modern challenges that integrate self-care with social responsibility and individual expression with community involvement. The way Stan navigates issues related to education, career preparation, and future planning demonstrates his understanding that personal success and social contribution require both practical skills and moral development, showing how young people can prepare for adult responsibilities while maintaining their commitment to values and relationships that provide meaning and purpose beyond mere economic achievement or social status. Stan's engagement with questions about mental health, wellness, and the increasing prevalence of anxiety and depression among young people reveals his growing awareness of the psychological costs of contemporary life, while also demonstrating his commitment to addressing these challenges through both individual self-care and collective efforts to create more supportive and sustainable social environments that promote human flourishing rather than exploitation or manipulation. The relationship between Stan's individual perspective and broader cultural movements demonstrates how personal conviction and authentic concern for others can serve as the foundation for meaningful social change that addresses genuine human needs rather than serving partisan political interests or the profit motives of those who benefit from social dysfunction and individual suffering. The way Stan addresses issues of diversity, inclusion, and cultural understanding reflects his natural respect for human dignity and his recognition that healthy communities require both celebration of differences and commitment to shared values that transcend cultural, ethnic, and religious boundaries, while respecting the legitimate desire of different groups to maintain their distinctive traditions and perspectives. Stan's responses to consumer culture and the increasing commercialization of human experience demonstrate his ability to appreciate genuine quality and value while resisting the manipulation and artificial desire creation that characterizes much contemporary marketing and advertising, showing how individuals can make thoughtful choices about consumption that reflect their values and support businesses and practices that contribute to human welfare rather than exploitation. The evolution of Stan's social awareness over time reveals his capacity for continued learning and growth in response to new information and changing circumstances, while maintaining consistency with his core values and commitment to truth, justice, and human dignity that provide stability and direction, even as specific applications of these principles must adapt to address contemporary challenges and opportunities. The way Stan's cultural commentary addresses the tension between individual freedom and social responsibility demonstrates his understanding that healthy societies require both personal autonomy and collective commitment to shared standards and mutual support systems that protect vulnerable community members, while encouraging individual creativity and achievement within frameworks that serve the common good. Stan's approach to controversial topics and polarizing issues reveals his commitment to seeking truth and promoting understanding rather than winning arguments or advancing narrow political agendas, showing how individuals can engage with difficult subjects in ways that promote dialogue, learning, and eventual progress towards solutions that serve human dignity and community welfare. The long-term significance of Stan's role as cultural commentator suggests that his perspective provides valuable guidance for navigating the ongoing challenges of modern life while maintaining hope for positive change and individual growth within social contexts that support human flourishing and authentic community development based on mutual respect and shared commitment to justice and compassion. in the quiet recognition that cultural change requires both individual wisdom and collective commitment to human dignity and social progress, we understand that Stan's voice serves as a reminder that young people possess both the right and responsibility to engage thoughtfully with the defining issues of their time, contributing their unique perspectives and energy to the ongoing work of creating more just and sustainable societies that honor both individual potential and community welfare in the delicate balance that characterizes healthy human civilization. In the intricate ecosystem of family relationships where individual personalities must navigate the competing demands of personal identity and collective harmony, few households demonstrate the complex interplay of love, dysfunction, and resilience that characterizes the Marsh family dynamic, where Stanley finds himself serving as both participant in and stabilizing force within a domestic environment that oscillates between moments of genuine warmth and periods of chaos that test the limits of familial bonds and individual psychological resources, creating the kind of formative experiences that shape character development and provide both security and stress in ways that influence all future relationships and personal growth throughout the journey. From childhood dependency to adult independence, the relationship between Stan and his sister Shelley represents one of the most psychologically realistic portrayals of sibling rivalry and the complex emotions that characterize brother-sister dynamics during the formative years when children must compete for parental attention while also developing their individual identities within the shared context of family life and household routines that create both opportunities for bonding and sources of conflict that require ongoing negotiation and mutual adjustment as both siblings mature and change their approaches to family relationships. The specific dynamics of Stan and Shelley's interactions reveal the typical patterns of older sibling dominance and younger sibling resistance that characterize many family systems, while also demonstrating the underlying affection and loyalty that persists despite surface-level conflicts and the kind of aggressive behavior that might seem hostile to outside observers but actually serves important functions in PAMAS, helping siblings establish boundaries, test limits, and develop the social skills necessary for navigating competitive relationships throughout their lives. The way Shelley's aggressive behavior towards Stan operates within the broader family system demonstrates how sibling conflicts often reflect deeper issues related to parental attention, family resources, and the individual psychological needs of children who must find their unique place and role within family hierarchies that may not always provide equal recognition or support for different personality types and developmental needs that require different forms of parental response and family accommodation. The protective instincts that occasionally emerge in Shelley's treatment of Stan reveal the fundamental loyalty that characterizes healthy sibling relationships despite ongoing conflicts and competition, showing how family bonds create forms of connection that transcend immediate disputes and create lasting obligations for mutual support and protection against external threats that might harm family members, even when internal relationships remain complicated and sometimes difficult. Stan's interactions with his mother Sharon provide crucial insight into the maternal relationship that serves as one of the primary sources of emotional security and moral guidance within the family system, demonstrating how Sharon's attempts to maintain household stability and provide appropriate parenting often conflict with the chaos created by Randy's various obsessions and schemes that disrupt normal family routines and create additional stress for all family members who must adapt to constantly changing circumstances. The way Sharon mediates between Stan and the various sources of dysfunction within their household reveals her crucial role as the family's emotional anchor and primary source of practical wisdom, even as her own psychological resources become strained by the ongoing demands of managing Randy's unpredictable behavior, while also providing appropriate guidance and support for her children who need consistency and stability during their formative developmental years. The influence that Sharon's approach to problem-solving and conflict resolution has on Stan's moral development demonstrates how maternal modeling provides crucial examples of how to handle difficult situations with grace, patience, and appropriate boundaries that protect family well-being, while also maintaining hope for positive change and the eventual resolution of ongoing challenges that might otherwise overwhelm individual family members or damage long-term relationships. The broader Marsh family dynamics, including interactions with extended family members and the influence of grandparents and other relatives, provide additional context for understanding how family patterns and traditions are transmitted across generations, while also revealing opportunities for positive influence and support that can offset some of the challenges created by immediate household dysfunction and the various pressures that affect nuclear family stability and functioning. The way various family crises test and reveal the underlying strength of Marsh family bonds demonstrates both the resilience that develops within family systems that face ongoing challenges and the importance of maintaining connection and pating mutual support. Even during periods when individual family members may be struggling with personal issues that affect their ability to contribute positively to household harmony and collective well-being. The economic pressures and social expectations that shape the Marsh family's daily life and long-term planning reveal how external factors influence internal family dynamics and create additional stress that must be managed alongside the normal challenges of child rearing, career development, and maintaining adult relationships that serve both individual needs and collective family goals within broader community contexts that impose their own demands and expectations. The role that family traditions, holidays, and special occasions play in maintaining Marsh family cohesion demonstrates how shared experiences and ritualistic activities can provide stability and continuity even when daily life becomes chaotic or stressful, creating opportunities for positive interaction and the reinforcement of family values and connections that might otherwise be overwhelmed by ongoing conflicts and the various pressures that affect contemporary family life. The way Stan serves as a source of stability within his increasingly chaotic family environment reveals both his natural maturity and the unfortunate necessity for children to sometimes assume adult-level responsibilities when parents become unable or unwilling to provide the leadership and stability that healthy family functioning requires, creating psychological burdens that may accelerate individual development, while also creating stress and resentment that can affect long-term well-being. The impact of his parents' marital problems on Stan's understanding of adult relationships and his expectations for his own future romantic partnerships demonstrates how family dysfunction during childhood can create both wisdom about relationship challenges and potential psychological barriers that must be addressed through conscious effort and possibly therapeutic support to prevent the repetition of harmful patterns in future relationships and family formation. The way Stan navigates loyalty conflicts when forced to choose between supporting different family members during disputes reveals his sophisticated understanding of family dynamics and his commitment to maintaining relationships with all family members while avoiding taking sides in conflicts that might damage his connections with people he loves. despite their various flaws and limitations that create ongoing challenges within the household environment. The psychological coping mechanisms that Stan develops to manage family stress and dysfunction demonstrate his natural resilience, while also revealing the ongoing costs of living within unstable family systems that require constant adaptation and emotional regulation beyond what should be expected from children who need consistent support and guidance, rather than being forced to serve as sources of stability for adults who struggle with their own unresolved issues. The moments of genuine family connection and shared joy that occasionally emerge within the Marsh household provide crucial evidence that underlying love and commitment persist despite ongoing challenges, offering hope for eventual healing and improved family functioning, while also providing positive experiences that can serve as models for healthy relationship dynamics and effective conflict resolution in future contexts. The way family dysfunction affects Stan's social relationships and academic performance reveals how household stress creates ripple effects that influence all aspects of individual development and social functioning, demonstrating the importance of family stability for supporting children's growth in other areas of life, while also showing how resilience developed through managing family challenges can create strength and empathy that benefit relationships outside the family context. The long-term implications of Stan's family experiences for his future adult relationships and potential parenting suggest that both positive and negative aspects of his family background will influence his approach to creating his own household and maintaining adult partnerships, creating opportunities to break negative cycles while building on the positive examples and coping skills he has developed through navigating his complex family environment. The broader cultural significance of the Marsh family dynamics reflects contemporary challenges facing many American families who must balance individual needs with collective responsibilities while managing economic pressures, social expectations, and the various forms of dysfunction that can emerge when adults struggle with their own psychological issues and identity crises during the demanding years of active parenting and career development. In the gentle recognition that families serve as the primary contexts within which individuals develop their fundamental understanding of love, loyalty, conflict resolution, and mutual support, we understand that Stan's experience within the Marsh household provides both challenges and opportunities that shape his character development in ways that will influence all future relationships and life choices, demonstrating how family experiences create the foundation for either repeating harmful patterns or breaking negative cycles through conscious effort and commitment to healthier approaches to human connection and mutual care. In the profound contemplation of human potential and the mysterious forces that shape individual destiny, few fictional characters offer as compelling an examination of life's divergent pathways as Stanley Marsh, whose various glimpses into possible futures throughout the South Park series provide fascinating insights into how present choices, environmental circumstances, and the complex interplay of character and opportunity create the conditions that determine whether individual lives unfold toward fulfillment and positive contribution, or descend into disappointment and wasted potential, revealing the delicate balance of factors that influence human development and the ongoing possibility for both triumph and tragedy within the scope of a single lifetime. The multiple potential futures that have been presented for Stan throughout the series demonstrate the sophisticated understanding of human development that underlies the show's approach to character growth, and the recognition that individual destiny remains fundamentally open and contingent upon countless decisions, relationships, and circumstances that can redirect life trajectories in ways that may not become apparent until years or decades after the crucial moments when different paths become available. and specific choices determine which possibilities become reality and which remain forever unexplored. The vision of Stan as an adult working in a mundane office environment, struggling with the same cynicism and disillusionment that characterized his adolescent depression, represents one possible trajectory where his natural idealism and moral passion become gradually eroded by the compromises and disappointments of adult life, creating a cautionary tale about how individuals with strong ethical convictions can lose their way when faced with systems and circumstances that reward conformity over principle and personal survival over community service and moral leadership. The alternative future where Stan achieves some form of creative or professional success while maintaining his essential moral character suggests that his fundamental decency and commitment to truth can serve as the foundation for meaningful adult accomplishment when circumstances allow his natural talents and ethical instincts to find appropriate expression through work and relationships that align with his values, rather than forcing him to compromise his integrity for economic security or social acceptance. The recurring theme of Stan's relationship with Kyle across different potential futures reveals the enduring significance of their friendship as a stabilizing force that transcends specific circumstances and life choices, suggesting that genuine human connection provides crucial support for maintaining individual identity and moral direction, regardless of the external challenges and opportunities that shape adult life experiences and career development over time. The way various future scenarios address Stan's romantic relationships and potential family formation demonstrates how his experiences with love and loss during youth create patterns and expectations that influence his approach to adult partnership and the possibility of creating stable, nurturing relationships that support both individual growth and mutual flourishing within the context of shared goals and complementary strengths that enable collaborative life building. The exploration of Stan's potential career paths reveals both his natural leadership abilities and his ongoing struggle to find work that provides not just economic sustenance, but genuine meaning and the opportunity to contribute positively to community welfare while utilizing his specific talents and interests in ways that create personal satisfaction and professional accomplishment without requiring the abandonment of his moral principles and commitment to social justice. The way different futures portray Stan's relationship with his family of origin demonstrates how childhood experiences within dysfunctional family systems can create both ongoing challenges and unexpected sources of strength that influence adult relationships and parenting approaches, showing how individuals can either perpetuate harmful patterns or consciously work to break negative cycles through increased self-awareness and commitment to healthier relationship dynamics. The environmental and social context that shapes Stan's various potential futures reflect broader cultural trends and challenges that affect entire generations, revealing how individual destiny unfolds within larger historical and social circumstances that create both opportunities and obstacles for personal development and the achievement of meaningful goals that serve both individual fulfillment and collective welfare. The philosophical implications of Stan's multiple potential futures touch on fundamental questions about determinism and free will, the relationship between character and circumstance, and the extent to which individuals can shape their own destinies through conscious choice and sustained effort versus the degree to which external factors beyond personal control ultimately determine life outcomes and the achievement of happiness and meaningful contribution. The way Stan's character arc suggests certain consistent themes and likely developmental trajectories provides insight into how individual personality traits and moral frameworks create predispositions towards specific types of choices and life directions, while still allowing for significant variation in outcomes based on the specific opportunities, relationships, and challenges that each person encounters throughout their developmental journey from childhood through adulthood. The lasting impact that Stan has had on other characters' development throughout the series demonstrates how individual moral leadership and authentic concern for others' welfare can create positive ripple effects that extend far beyond immediate personal relationships to influence broader community dynamics and social progress through the example of principled action and genuine compassion for human dignity and collective flourishing. The timeless nature of Stan's struggles and growth reveals how his character addresses universal aspects of human experience that transcend specific cultural and historical contexts, dealing with fundamental challenges related to moral development, authentic relationship formation, and the search for meaning and purpose that characterize human existence across different societies and time periods, while remaining relevant to contemporary audiences facing similar developmental challenges. The way Stan's journey reflects broader themes about coming of age and the transition from childhood idealism to adult responsibility demonstrates how individual development requires both the preservation of essential values and the development of practical wisdom necessary for navigating complex social and economic realities that may not always align with moral principles, but must still be engaged constructively for individual survival and community contribution. The role that Stan plays in South Park's enduring cultural relevance demonstrates how well-developed fictional characters can serve as vehicles for exploring ongoing social issues and moral questions that continue to challenge real communities and individuals who must find ways to maintain their humanity and ethical commitments while adapting to changing circumstances and technological developments that create new opportunities and challenges for authentic human connection. The educational value of Stan's character development for audiences of all ages reflects how storytelling can serve important functions in moral education and personal growth by providing examples of how individuals can navigate difficult challenges while maintaining their essential decency and commitment to truth, justice, and genuine concern for others' welfare, even when such commitments require personal sacrifice and the courage to stand apart from popular opinion or social pressure. The way Stan's moral leadership has influenced the overall direction and tone of South Park as a series demonstrates how individual character strength can shape entire narrative universes and provide the stability and ethical foundation necessary for addressing controversial topics and complex social issues while maintaining hope for human potential and the possibility of positive change through individual and collective effort. The inspiration that Stan's character provides for viewers facing their own developmental challenges and moral dilemmas reflects the power of authentic storytelling to offer guidance and encouragement for real people who must find ways to maintain their integrity and pursue meaningful goals, while navigating the practical demands and ethical complexities of contemporary life in increasingly challenging social and economic environments. The legacy that Stan represents within the broader landscape of animated television and cultural commentary suggests that his character will continue to serve as a reference point for discussions about moral development, authentic leadership, and the ongoing human struggle to create meaning and maintain hope within social contexts that often seem indifferent to individual suffering or the pursuit of justice and compassion as organizing principles for community life. In the gentle contemplation of what Stan Marsh represents for our understanding of human potential and the possibility of maintaining moral integrity throughout the challenges of growing up and accepting adult responsibility, we recognize that his journey serves not merely as entertainment, but as testimony to the enduring human capacity for goodness, growth, and genuine concern for others' welfare, demonstrating that individual character and authentic commitment to truth and justice remain powerful forces for positive change, even in circumstances that might seem to reward cynicism and self-interest over compassion and community service, offering hope that the essential human qualities he embodies will continue to find expression in real lives and communities seeking to create more just and sustainable societies based on mutual respect and shared commitment to human dignity and collective flourishing. As we conclude our journey through Stan Marsh's world, we're reminded that sometimes the most extraordinary thing about a character is their determination to remain ordinary. In a town filled with the bizarre and absurd, Stan's greatest strength lies in his refusal to lose his humanity, his empathy, and his fundamental belief that things can and should make sense. His story teaches us that growing up doesn't mean abandoning our principles, and that questioning the world around us is not cynicism but wisdom. From the boy who just wanted his girlfriend back to the young man grappling with an increasingly complex world, Stan Marsh remains our guide through the chaos, reminding us that someone has to care, someone has to try, and someone has to keep asking the difficult questions. Rest peacefully knowing that in the quiet moments between South Park's wildest adventures, a young man continues to grow, learn, and hold fast to the belief that understanding and compassion can still triumph over ignorance and cruelty.